Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video here at tablemon. Black, Bolt and White Fleur just released today. It's been a while since I've made these sort of videos, but I figured the new set, new release, and in the lead up to the World Championships, what better way to restart these sort of videos in the channel. Let me know if you're interested. I'm probably aiming for maybe one, like week, maybe two per week, alongside our usual more edited video. But I figured a lot of people have asked me about the playing videos, right? And that they miss them. So I figured once per week, probably worth putting the time into them. So today we're going to be playing with the brand new Gardevoir and Jellicent EX deck. Of course, we have the Jellicent EX right here with the ability Oceanic Curse. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't play any item cards or Pokemon tool cards from their hand. And the attack power press does 80 damage, but if this Pokemon has at least 2 extra energy attached, this attack does 80 more damage. So of course the ability reminds us of that pesky body, which everybody loves to hate. However, with a boss's orders, you can send the Jellicent to the bench and reactivate your item card. So expect boss's orders count in decks to go up, which is pretty important to consider with this kind of shift in the metagame. And of course, the attack doing 160 total for 4 energy, not the greatest. Coincidentally, does 160, which with Clefairy times 2 is perfect for Dragapult, so still reigning on the Dragapult party for Gardevoir. Seems like it's gonna remain at the very top, and even if you don't have Gardevoir set up, with just 2 energies, you can still do a lot of damage. And of course, on top of that, you have the damage you deal to Jellicent, and if you're switching back and forth between 2 Jellicent EXs set up, then you definitely have potential to send even more damage to your opponents through Monkey Dory's Adrenabrain. Now, the basic of Jellicent EX, the Freelish, is actually also very good. It has the Oceanic Gloom attack, does 20 damage, and during your opponent's turn, they can't play any item cards from their hand. Coincidentally, that's pretty much the same as Buddy, except this one has more HP, does more damage, and has a higher retreat cost. Now, why is a higher retreat cost important? It is important because with the damage that you pile up on the Freelish to retreat it with Gardevoir EX onto potentially another Freelish, you actually get to send that damage with Adrenabrain. So that's going to be very, very important to keep in mind when playing against the Jellicent EX, Gardevoir EX decks. You don't only have to worry about about the Jellicent EX item locking, but you also have to keep in mind the Freelish threat that also is available to them. So we're going to be playing with the Japanese list that got top 8 at the Japan Championships, or Japan National Championships this past June. They're already playing with our Worlds format. So let's take a look at the deck list and then we'll jump into some matches. So here is the deck list. We have a lot of interesting things in the deck. We have, of course, the 2/2 Jellicent EX line, which is now going to be one of the main focuses of the deck, just denying a lot of what your opponent can do through their Freelish attack, through the Jellicent EX ability. And then we also have the Klefki tech, which is very important in a potential mirror match or in a situation where you're trying to shut down your opponent's Monkey Dories, right? First, you use your own Adrenabrain, send some damage, put up the Klefki active, shut down their opponent's Monkey Dory so that damage cannot be sent back, and then you get another turn to send damage with more Adrenabrains after you retreat the Klefki, and then you get to do a lot of Technical Machine de-evolution shenanigans, right? This deck plays 2 copies of Technical Machine de-evolution, so no Drifloon, no big damage potential. Instead, it's almost becoming a sort of like item lock spread deck of sorts, where Gardevoir just gets damage on the board, you switch between the Jellicent EXs, and you're able to send a lot of damage to your opponent through the combination of Monkey Dory and that damage from Psychic Embrace. So other than that, we have Screamtail to help with the spread damage, to help target things on the bench, and we have Lily's Clefairy EX, of course, because we do need that cover for Dragapult EX and those one-shots, which are always welcome. Now, other than that, Secret Box is our A-Spec. We have the usual 4-4-2 spread of Arven, Iono, 4 Research, 4 Iono, and 2 Arven, which is the norm now for Gardevoir decks pretty much. And then we have consistency behind it. We have the Ultra Balls, we have the Versals, we have the Nest Balls, and we have the 2 technical machine evolutions, as well as the 2 copies of artisans. The one key card that I think I'd be missing would be like 1 copy of Buddy Buddy Puffin. Going Arven for Puffin, TM Evo, and getting double Kirlia into play is usually very, very strong, but we do have the 2 rare candy to help compensate for that and allow us to evolve immediately into Gardevoir in case we are not able to get that technical machine evolution turn. 2 copies of Counter Catcher, because since we are more of a spread deck now, we will be behind in many situations. And so let's jump into the ladder, which, bear in mind, the ladder just got reset. It gets reset with every new set, so it's very likely we will not be able to find the most quality top tier games that we would normally find at the Arceus rank. However, because everyone gets reset, there's probably going to be a lot of people just trying to grind the ladder as well, which also means there might be a lot of the donking poison deck. So I was a little hesitant to make this video because of that, but we're just gonna see if we can find at least a couple good games with this. Let's jump into some games. All right, so we do win the gun flip. We are not going first. This new background, I mean, it's definitely new. I don't know if it's very aesthetic overall, but I mean, it is what it is. All right, so we actually have a pretty broken hand. Now, I could start the Ralts and TM Evo into Jellicent plus Ralts, or I could just start the Frillish and go in with that. I think that's what I'm gonna do, but I'm not super convinced. And then just in case it's the poison deck, I'm just gonna go ahead and bench the 2 Ralts because I know I will be benching them. But no, it's actually a GoldenGo deck. So this is where the item lock is gonna be pretty impactful. The Frillish item lock could actually be even more impactful, especially towards the later stages of the game. If at some point my opponent is a little bit careless with their resources, or they have too many energies in the discard pile, then all of a sudden this Frillish just locking things down could actually be extremely impactful. Now, Secret Box top deck is actually pretty ridiculous. I am going to go ahead and Arven. I mean, I could play Secret Box, but it feels a little redundant here. Like I don't need that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and Nest Ball. I do kind of want to set up an extra Frillish. Could also honestly set up the Pheasantipity, but I do like the Frillish and just immediately shutting down item cards. I did not prize a Kirlia, that's pretty good news. I did prize a couple Psychic. I also prized, what else? A Night Stretcher. So 2 Psychic, a Night Stretcher, and an Ultra Ball or something. All right, I'm just gonna grab the TM Devo. Not the biggest fan of that, but it is what it is. All right, so, and I still have like Clef if I really need some further help. I actually think I will bench it in case, like I'm expecting the Frillish to go down. Like Secret Box is a great card, but I feel like using it in that previous turn would have been a little too destructive in my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and bench the Cleffa, anticipating my opponent taking a knockout next turn. And I'm gonna go ahead and get double Kirlia. Like I still want to prioritize the Gardevoirs. And then after resources have been used, that's when the item lock will be the strongest, right? And like I said, I could have started the Ralts and have a Jellicent and a Kirlia. That could have been maybe a better middle ground. I'm not entirely sure. We won't have enough cards for Secret Box anyways next turn. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what my opponent has in store for us. They didn't do much, right? They do have the GoldenGo. They can play now the new Genesect EX. They can also play the new Herballoon as well. Those are like the new cards for this deck to play with and have. You'd expect them with such a decently big hand to have access to the Genesect EX. The fact that they play Ultra Ball tells me though that they are not playing the same list as the ones that did well in the Japan Championships. They might not have actually updated their deck with Genesect EX, right? So we don't know for certain anything about our opponent's deck list. We'll just have to see. They are playing the Levincia, so that does tell me that perhaps they are. They have updated their deck into contemplating the Jellicent EX, but they actually were not able to attack me whatsoever. So now, this is an interesting situation. I still don't have enough for the secret box. Now I can't retreat. So I could thin with the Earthen Vessel. I'm gonna have to anyways. So one TM Devo gone. That might also give my opponent like a false sense of security. And then I'm gonna keep these 2 energies, and then whatever we top deck, we're just gonna discard. But now the Oceanic Gloom, like what we know so far is that my opponent definitely doesn't have 2 energies in their hand. They might have 1, right? But they definitely don't have 2. And now they can't play Energy Search Pro. They can't play Earthen Vessel, so they just have to draw the energies, which is fine by me, right? If they miss another KO, that would be pretty insane, honestly. Now, of course, they have the coin bonus. They do get to draw a lot of extra cards each and every turn. And yeah, seems like we're in for a pretty good game now. Bear in mind, I have been playing and preparing for Worlds. I have been playing with this particular list of Jellicent, Gardevoir, and others in the race for Worlds. However, definitely not the most games, right? I have not played 100 games to play this list absolutely perfectly, right? Now, yeah, I'm not gonna discard the tool. I'm just gonna nest ball for a Monkey Dory right here before I research. It's a little unfortunate that I ended up having to discard the Darkness Energy, but it is what it is. It's not the biggest of deals. And yeah, I mean, I don't even get to use my Stadium, but getting rid of the Levincia, I think, is actually pretty relevant. And now we have Guardy, but I don't even think I need to evolve into the Guardy at this stage in the game. Like, evolving into Guardy means I can't even retreat. The Frillish, well, and I mean, I don't expect Iono for my opponent either. So I think I'm just gonna play it cool. Slow and steady wins the race. We're just gonna Oceanic Gloom. And then seeing me discard 1 TM Devo might give my opponent like a false sense of security in a way that there isn't another one coming. But in reality, I play 2 copies, right? So if they've done their homework on the Japan National Championships, they can't probably expect that. But we'll see. We'll see if it catches them off guard. We're going to try our best to prevent any sort of picnic basket play from them. Now, that Cliff on my bench is looking pretty ridiculous, of course. I wish I had a way to remove it. But I think that's going to be a pretty big limiting factor. But yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind just trying to clean up my opponent's board with a clean sweep of TM Devo and just get rid of every single attacker they have. I think that's what we're going to be playing towards in this particular game. All right. So they do Cypher Maniac, they put 2 cards at the top, they have their 2 remaining coin bonus from the bench. So whatever they search for, they will have access to, which I'm guessing it's going to be energies, right? I'm guessing it's going to be energies. Now, another benefit of having the Jellicent EX is that if they actually try to knock it out, right, then we're going to be in a pretty fine spot. They did discard a metal energy, which is good news, I guess. We do want to get damage on the board, so now I will get the Gardevoir. I would love a Jellicent or an Ultra Wall. No, that's the 1 card I did not need to top deck. No, that's okay. Gracious. That is such bad news. To top deck that and have research as my only supporter of choice. I mean, that alone might just force me to, well, it's gonna force me to shift gears 100%. I'm not gonna have the option to technical machine devolution now whatsoever. So now I'm gonna have to go through 3 GoldenGo EXs and have to hope an Iono sticks towards the end. That's incredibly unfortunate, honestly. Didn't get the best handoff and research either. I think I'm gonna have to do this if I want to set up a Jellicent, but now I will not be able to get 2 Jellicents down. So if one does go down, I'm gonna be in trouble. But anyways, it is what it is, right? Unfortunately, I wouldn't even be able to deal 160 damage. So not the best game for sure. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and retreat. We're only going to be able to do it like now because I'm in this like damage race because I had to discard my second TM Devo. Yeah, now it's gonna be pretty awful. And I'm also, this is a big misplay. I should have powered up the Jellicent and sent the damage from the Jellicent because all this is accomplishing is I am saving my opponent one energy. Like if they want to KO me now, they just need 5 energies instead of 6, which is a pretty big mistake, right? How many games are not won or lost by a single energy or like these very thin margins? So that's my bad. Now keep in mind, by blocking tools, my opponent can also cannot play Air Balloon in order to retreat. So the only way to activate item cards at this point is a Boss's Orders. And that 10 damage on the Gardevoir is also pretty unfortunate because it means my opponent needs 6 and not 7 energies. Now Cypher Maniac gets played. We don't need any sort of, or we don't fear any Boss's Orders situation. I mean, this might mean they are able to, like if they put 2 energies and they have 3 in their hand, then they would be able to KO me, right? So I should have forced them to need 6 instead of 5. That was poorly done. We see the attachment. We see the stadium, which guarantees them 1. And do they have an extra 4 in their hand, in their 9-card hand? I mean, they're doing things in a weird order for sure. Instead of drawing, and then committing. They could have also like drawn 2, see what they got, and then chose their Cypher Maniac option. We see them make it rain, and only for 50. Okay, interesting. So now here's an interesting situation. We know now that my opponent, I mean, I really want another Psychic Energy. I'm just a little bit wary of using the Counter Catcher. 80 plus 160. I can KO the GoldenGo. But I mean, I think I should just do it, right? Just gonna go ahead and Iono. Whatever they drew must have gotten or is getting put to the bottom. I think I get the stadium to get rid of the Levincia, which is pretty great. Not much else to go with this though. And not even a Psychic Energy. So I'm gonna... Yeah, I do want to KO this GoldenGo. Just give my opponent less stuff available for next turn. I mean, this will activate Pheasantipity. Yeah, things are not looking great at all. But, I mean, I am getting the first 2 prizes, I guess. So... Well, what if I don't, actually? What if I don't get prizes? Then it's one less card from Fez. So 1-9. Okay, so here's one. Okay, new plan, I think. We do 160. We don't KO. We are going to need our Supra to get back Dark Energies at some point and probably a Frillish, right? And so here's the plan, I guess. We knock out the GoldenGo, and then we can possibly knock out the other GoldenGo as well. This is assuming my active goes down. So we can Adrenobrain KO the active, and then we can KO the other GoldenGo on the bench through Gardevoir EX. It has 70 plus 190, that's 260, that's perfect. And then we snipe the Fez. because GoldenGo decks don't tend to play Shaman. And now we see a big difference from the Japanese list. This player is playing Togekiss as opposed to the Scissor that we usually see. So interesting addition. Togekiss definitely has a lot of merit, but yeah, the item log has been pretty big, and I have a feeling my opponent is not playing 4 Bosses Orders, based on the fact that he has not played a single one after multiple draws. Now, this is perfect. My opponent didn't even KO me. All right, so this is absolutely fantastic news. We can go... We could KO the Fez this turn. I really don't want to see a Professor Turo, however. So here's the thing. If I KO if I attack the GoldenGo right now, like if I use a Adrenabrain KO, they're gonna bring up the Togepi, and that's gonna put me at uneven price cards. Then I could use the Screamtail to snipe. No, I can't. I just don't have enough. All right, so I'm gonna commit my second Counter Catcher. I think it's fine to do so. I wish I had one more of these energies available at this point in time, but I'm gonna play the Counter Catcher first before I commit. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna hit for 160 on the Fez. Yeah. Or do I retreat KO with Gardevoir? That feels a little like this is still, if they Turo, then it's unlikely they're gonna accomplish much, right? I could still get energies, right? I did prize 2 energies from the discard pile. So as you can see, like I'm hesitant on a lot of the decisions. The TM Devo getting discarded was not ideal. I do get another energy. Ultra Ball, I don't think there is a great target for me for this Ultra Ball at this point in time. Yeah. But I do want the energy in the discard pile, so I mean, I don't think I'm gonna need another Jellicent. I don't think the game's gonna lead to that. I think just finding energy or finding Super Rod or finding Night Stretcher might be what I need to close out this game, especially for the second Dark. So yeah, I'm just gonna go 160, and then this Fez, if it gets picked up by Turo, it's not ideal, of course, but it is what it is. I mean, maybe my best play was to bring up the other GoldenGo and just take 4 prizes, and I mean, it's not sealing the deal, all because of that Cleffa. If I had double Monkey Dory, but I mean, I had to assume the worst, I feel. I had to prepare for the worst case scenario, which was Frillish going down and then going Grasping Draw. Now that's the third Cypher Maniac, so this is a perfect example of, I mean, I don't know, right? This is just like not keeping up with the meta trends. My opponent might not even, I mean, you have to know, right? You see the board. You have to know the new set is out. Unless you're living under a rock, you know Jellicent EX is coming out. And so you have to know, right, that this is a threat. So you have to adapt, right? And how do you adapt? I think 4 Bosses Orders now in GoldenGo EX decks is pretty much mandatory. My opponent's clearly not playing 4 Bosses Orders in their deck. They might be playing 4 Cypher Maniac, which combo is great with coin bonus, but doesn't let you play item cards. My opponent had multiple Bosses Orders. I'm sure we would have been in a lot more trouble. The TM Devo discards definitely forced me into a weird situation, but now this game becomes extremely simple, and I just win this turn. I go promote Gardevoir, Adrenabrain 30 to the bench, and then promote Gardevoir 190 to the GoldenGo and win the game immediately. So the fact that my opponent did this and has not conceded, to me, is a sign that they don't even realize that the game is over, right? They're just playing, and they're trying to get a knockout, which is perfectly valid, right? But if you're trying to be more competitive, you have to factor in your opponent's decision-making, your opponent's options. And I mentioned this because if this was a game at a regional or at an international, and you are hoping to finish 3 games, then you need to be conceding, right? You generally need to be conceding much earlier than than this, right? Just there's no reason to have your opponent play out the next turn or this turn in particular. And there we have it. Yeah, no TM Devo plays, but the item lock from Frillish and from Jellicent was a pretty big determining factor in the result of this game. So let's jump into another one. All right, here we go with our next game. Hopefully no Poison Dunk. They did choose to go first, but it is Grimmstar. So I think this is a great thing to see because Grimmstar is most certainly going to continue to be popular, and Grimmstar might be like one of the best, if not the best, ways to counter a new Gardevoir Jellicent EX deck. Now, this exact situation is where I wish I had a copy of Buddy Buddy Puffin. I might have to settle for a single Kirlia. It's just the discard is a little too harsh. And I mean, if I get Secret Box, I can't get the double rolls. Is there even double Kirlia? There is double Kirlia. So if I grab these, then what am I discarding for the Secret Box? Okay, so I think it's going to be one TM Devo. We're going to play with one. So it's going to be TM Devo, Ultra Ball, and Research. I cannot discard both of the Night Stretchers. And I need the Darkness Energy in order to help myself in this particular spot. But this is actually pretty decent. I guess I could have discarded the Iono instead of the TM Devo. Just grabbed another one. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Arvin, grab the Nest Ball, grab the TM Evo, and grab the Artisan. And then with a Dark Energy, but we will be able to get double Kirlia into play against my opponent's pretty underwhelming hand, which is definitely good news when you're playing against what on paper rather, is an unfavored matchup, right? If my opponent just goes Rare Candy Grimmstar this upcoming turn, then props to them. Nothing I can really do. If they have a single Arvin, they can actually do that, right? Which would be pretty sad for me because they can grab Secret Box and then Secret Box grabs them the Spikemud Stadium and the candy to search for the Grimmstar. I think that's a big reason why Grimmstar is so good, because Secret Box is just so powerful. It gives him such an explosive turn of a single Arvin, which you play 4 of. So we'll see my opponent has in store for us. We did give them Artisan in exchange for getting double Kirlia, so it's to our benefit, but also to our opponent's benefit. It does mean we get a full, complete game, hopefully. So that's good news, right? Now, once again, I do feel like TM Devo is very likely going to be the game-winning card against my opponent, especially if they go crazy with Rare Candy this turn. However, it doesn't seem like they're doing much at all, at least at this point. And then, hello? Hello? Yeah, I guess they AFK'd, unfortunately. So the Psychic Energy top deck means I just grab an Ultra Ball and grab the Jellicent and win the match. So too bad we weren't able to see the full match play out. I was generally very excited at the possibility of doing that, but my opponent forgot about the game, disconnected, got distracted, or something along those lines. So let's jump into the next game, see if we can get a good match going. And there's the win. Yep, on to the next game. All right, so I won the coin flip for a 3rd game in a row. So we're going second once again, which is what this deck wants to do. We do get a mulligan. Now, I do know, or I do think, rather, I don't know, but I do think there are bots in TCG Live. Like, they usually have like the name of a Pokemon, a few numbers, and they're always playing either Ethan's Typhlosion or Charizard, Pidgeot, Rapska. I thought we were up against someone like that based on the sleeves and whatnot, but we're up against Steven's Metagross EX with Blissey for some reason. So we're not going to be playing against the most competitive meta deck, but these games help us showcase how the deck ends up working out. You know, overall at least. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, Miscellaneous EX, it's honestly, I know it's not a competitive card. I think its ability lets you attach a metal and a psychic energy to either one of your Pokemon or one of your metal or psychic Pokemon. I'm guessing it's any Pokemon based on the fact that there's a Blissey EX right now in front of me. That nest ball is pretty decent. So one of the Kirill is in my hand, the other is not available. So that's not ideal. So is this a secret box? Yeah, this is an absolutely a secret box turn where we're going to plan for what though? I mean, I could take advantage of the TMU, and I guess if I have Super Rod, all right, you know what? I convinced myself that it is worth it. So let's grab these two, and then we're gonna go ahead and secret box away one energy, one nest ball, and the research. And then I'm gonna, I'm gonna grab the Iono, I'm gonna grab nest ball, I'm gonna grab Artisan, and I'm gonna grab TM Devo. So my supporter for next turn will for sure be Iono, and I will take advantage of the fact that if one Kirill is prized, I might as well get the Jellicent EX going, right? As soon as I can, and a Kirill as well. So don't forget to shuffle back the Kirill, Pablo. Otherwise, that would be a pretty big mistake. And we are shutting down basic abilities. I have no idea what my opponent's deck includes, other than what we saw from the mulligan, which was the triple acceleration energy. I forgot the name of that one. And then it's Steven's Metagross and Blissey EX and Hobbs Cramorant for some reason. So there's a lot to unpack here, but we'll see how the game plays out, right? And a lot of the time, these sort of games are usually very interesting in the sense that you have to improvise a lot, right? See, there's a Charmander, so I have no idea what is going on. It might actually still be there might not be a person behind who we are playing against right now. I have no clue. I have no clue. I like to analyze. I'm very analytical. I like to keep on top of the game, of course, for all the commentary I do. But there's many times where you are just completely baffled by what your opponent is trying to do, and this is definitely one of those times. Great top deck, very, very appreciated. I do have one Psychic in the discard pile. This one got stuck on the Klefki, unfortunately. I will get a backup Rolls. I guess I could have waited for the Artisan, but I really want that energy, and I want to start applying pressure. That's my goal right now. I just want to start getting damage in and getting closer to winning, and that's exactly what we get. We get the energy, and then Psychic Embrace. We have the backup Frillish. This does mean we will only have space for one Monkey Dory, and that is completely fine by me. Only 80 damage, no KO. Well, that's fine. Things are looking pretty good. Now my opponent cannot play tool cards, cannot play item cards from their hand, so there's no crazy rare candy Charizard that's gonna happen anytime soon. My Monkey Dory damage will definitely be going after Charmander, and then, I mean, this is absolutely not a serious game at all. And this has to be some sort of bot, right? There's why? I just what is that combination of Pokemon on the bench? So this is the problem with doing things on the very first day of set releases. We have these unfortunate bots. Until you get to Arceus, pretty much every game in the lead up to that is very unlikely to be worth your time, essentially. So yeah, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So let's go ahead, grab the two Psychics. I already attached for turn. We'll take the KO on Chansey, and then I would somehow, maybe my opponent attacks me with Blood versus Luna. I have no idea. Now, that Ultra Ball is actually pretty great because now I can Ultra Ball for the Jellicent EX, retreat the active, get the new one powered up, and use the damage to keep sending damage to the Charmander, which is pretty much my priority. Well, this is annoying. I mean, my opponent playing the full Pokedex at this point in time, and now we both go to sleep. That's my opponent. They stay asleep, and this is me, and I wake up. Perfect. And I'll be able to just get rid of this Komala immediately, which I am very happy about. We'll discard these two. We'll get the Jellicent going. Yeah, like this is the one thing that could maybe force me to lose a turn or whatever. Yeah, and I really don't want that to happen. So we're gonna go ahead and Psychic Embrace. I mean, I'll do the 2 here just to get the knockout, and then if I need to, I'll retreat next turn or something. There's no need to rush the retreat, and this will get me an extra prize down the line, and so far so good. Like, unfortunately, there's not much to analyze. Feels like a waste of time for me, at least. We're not learning anything in terms of how competitive this deck is, but I mean, every little bit helps, right? Based on my opponent's fast actions, maybe it's not a bot behind the account, but it's definitely not a competitive deck by any means. Metagross, Charizard, Zamazenta, Komala, Chansey, Blissey, Cramorant, Bloodmoon. There's just no. All right, so if I retreat, okay, first let me take the KO on the Charmander. And then, I mean, that Bloodmoon is now looking a little scarier, if you will. I don't think I have a way to stop it from KOing me, and I don't think I care. So I'll just take the knockout, then I'll have Double Monkey, power up the Jelly, put damage on the Bloodmoon, and then just chase the Bloodmoon wherever it goes, and that should be game over. Yeah. Could also attack with Guardy. I think attacking with Jelly is better overall, just to keep the item lock, just to prevent any sort of surprises, weird stuff, anything. We have the Metal Fire deck, very popular, of course. And yeah, so far so good. So at this point, I don't mind giving my opponent 2 prizes, and this is something like trying to make the best out of this game. This is something that I try to advise a lot of people. Like, it's okay for your Pokemon to go down. I see so many people concerned about their Pokemon going down, and they go out of their way to prevent their Pokemon from going down, whereas it doesn't matter if your Pokemon go down. It matters if enough Pokemon go down to where you lose the game. But if enough Pokemon go down, or rather, if 5 Pokemon go down, then that's perfectly fine. Just win with the 6th, right? That's all you need to worry about. So, don't worry too much. I guess it's the knowledge there. Like, this happened just yesterday in a coaching session I had with someone. It's like they were so concerned about what would happen to their Ogerpon with 180 damage, and it's like, well, yes, it's gonna go down to Monkey 30, and so what? You're up 3 prizes, you're about to be up a 4th, right? So your priority is not your Pokemon not going down. Your priority is winning the game before your opponent, right? So if they take 5 prizes and you took 6, who cares? If your goal is not to win 6 prizes to 0, right? Like, that's the main thing. You don't need to beat your opponent 6 prizes to 0. You just need to beat their Pokemon. You need to knock out 6 before they knock out your 6. That's it. Anything else after that does not matter whatsoever, right? Who went down, at what point they went down, in the final result, it doesn't matter. In the interactions within the game, of course it matters, right? But sometimes you just have to accept that your Pokemon's gonna go down, and it's completely fine. You have such a big advantage that it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things of trying to win the game. But anyways, after having said this, the game should be over next turn. We had a pretty decent game that first one against GoldenGo, showcasing the power of Jellicent. I think what I will do, like, I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible. What I will be doing is making sure I grind up 2 Arceus ladder before the next one. All right, so let me know if you're interested in seeing a bit more competitive gameplay, right? It's something that I started the channel with 10 years ago, right? And that was the only thing I did in the channel. I shifted away from that for the last couple years, I feel, maybe less. But it is the 10-year anniversary of tablemon, so if you'd like for that sort of content to come back, not on a daily basis because that's a little too much, but committing to one of these videos per week, I think would definitely be doable for me with my schedule and my motivation. And yeah, but probably only worth it if I get to Arceus rank before recording, right? Because otherwise we get these sort of games which are definitely not worth, like, we're not learning anything about the competitive nature of Jellicent EX, Gardevoir EX in the lead up to the World Championships. But I'll try to revisit this maybe as a bonus video when I hit Arceus, and that's going to be what I do between today and tomorrow. Just going to use the Poison Dunk deck to get to Arceus as quickly as possible. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. If you want to support the channel, you can use code tablemon to get 5% off at Potent Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 20% off for your superfoods at Amaranthi. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. ¿Eres de México y necesitas cartas de Pokémon? Busca Hyperbeam Cards en Facebook e Instagram. Y si estás en Tijuana, búscalos en el local G18 y G11 en el centro comercial Otay.